Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sitdown. If you can't tell, I got a little energy flowing right now because I just got back from an actual movie theater and an actual IMAX movie theater. It's been over a year since I've seen anything on an IMAX screen, and it's been since Christmas that I've seen, so almost like 3 months since I've seen anything in a movie theater at all. Last time I was in Jersey for Christmas. Theaters in Jersey have been open for a while. There's one close to my house that's an AMC. I'm able to scope out the seating. While I want the theaters to succeed, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I hope that there's no one there when I go. And that happened for Promising Young Woman, and that happened today for me. New York is finally opened up some theaters. Palisades Center just recently reopened, and this movie was playing there, and it's close enough where I was able to scope out the seats. Nobody was in there. Took one, shot over. Felt very safe. All of the different safety protocols and the hand sanitizing dispensers and the wipes and everything that's put into place. I mean, brand new seating in the IMAX theater. I felt very safe. Me personally, I just don't like to be in a theater. I'm not ready for theaters yet if there are going to be people in them. But if I can see an empty theater, I will go shoot over there. Unfortunately, at a 4:30 matinee, nobody was really in the theater. Anywho. And I was able to sit back and enjoy this movie. And this is a movie that I've been looking forward to since it was first announced, but then really looking forward to for about a week. That's when I finally checked out the trailer last week. So let's not waste any more time, man. Why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We are getting ready to dive in, spoiler-free, into Chaos Walking. And one of the reasons I wanted to go see this movie so badly was, A, the trailer definitely intrigued me a lot, but B, I wanted to see Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley outside of the comfort zone that I've come to enjoy them in the Star Wars universe and the Spider-Man universe, Marvel universe. And while I have seen Daisy Ridley outside of the Star Wars movies, she was in the Orient Express, or Murder on the Orient Express, sorry. And she was, really, really solid in that. I haven't seen Tom Holland in anything really outside of Spider-Man since he's been Spider-Man. And I know Cherry is on Apple TV Plus. I don't have Apple TV Plus at the moment. So this was an opportunity to see these two do something different. And this is a pair of characters that are definitely different for these two. And I enjoyed watching them a lot, specifically because the concept on this movie is really quite interesting. Looking at the synopsis on IMDb, a dystopian world where there are no women and all living creatures can hear each other's thoughts in a stream of images, words, and sounds that they call the noise. And as you can see around Tom Holland's head there, there's all this kind of glowy stuff. That's the noise. And basically everything you think, if you think it, it comes out loud. And that is the case for all of the men on this planet. They have this noise, and every thought they have is broadcast. And the movie kind of sets it up as this idea, I guess you could say it kind of telegraphs things a little bit. That's one of the issues with this movie. You can see a lot of what's coming. But nevertheless, I really enjoyed going through all the things that we go through. But they kind of kick it off with this idea that if men don't have the ability to filter their thoughts, all that's left, they're just chaos walking. And while you can, definitely dive into that subject matter in many different ways, I just think historically, chaos follows men a little bit more than it does women, at least when you look at the really, really bad people in the world. Sure, there are bad people on both sides of the fence, but tends to land on the guy's side more, and the movie definitely plays with that because of this planet full of men. And then everything kind of changes when a spacecraft crashes, and Daisy Ridley's character Viola shows up. And this is written by Patrick Ness, who also wrote the book, which is titled, when I saw the title of the book, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense because of an interesting part that we'll talk about with Tom Holland's character, Todd Hewitt. You will remember his name by the end of this movie, I promise you. But this is based on the book written by Patrick Ness called The Knife of Never Letting Go. We'll get into why that title popped for me when I read it for the first time. And then Christopher Ford also participates in the screenplay. And like I said, the concept is really interesting. This idea that you can't have any thoughts hidden, ever. If you think it, it broadcasts it. So when people sleep, you're actually seeing their dreams broadcast. And while that seems like a massive negative, I think it's every person's worst fears. If someone could hear the thoughts that run through my head, Like, sometimes you have thoughts that don't necessarily line up with who you are as a person. It just kind of passes through your mind. You're like, that was messed up. Why did it go there? And that happens with characters in the movie. Like, they'll have a thought. It's like, oh, I wasn't, like, I didn't mean to think that. It just, that's the thing with the brain. Like, things come in and out. And the way that you silence your brain or try to silence your brain is an interesting concept if it's broadcasting all the time. But there are some really cool things that are part of that, because it's not just sounds, but it's images. So you're able to relive memories, which is kind of a cool thing. And kind of playing with that concept I thought was really interesting. The one thing I wanted more of was some more development around certain characters or I guess beings that exist, right? Like, this is there is a native species to this planet called the spackle. And I would have liked to get into their story a little bit more, because I think it could have played out a little bit more interestingly if that could have been developed a little more. It's more like, they're there and we get a glimpse here and there. But this story is more or less kind of simplistic in the sense that it is all about these two and about getting Daisy Ridley's character, Viola, someplace where she can contact her ship so that her ship can land. And you have this town that Tom Holland comes from, and the men in this town, not a fan of Daisy Ridley. And Tom Holland, who's never seen a girl before, falls like madly in love with her instantly, because this concept is something that he knows of but has never seen a girl. And while they kind of play with that and take you on this really, really interesting adventure, a lot of the things are somewhat like you can kind of see them coming sometimes. But like I said, I really enjoyed going on this adventure with these two characters, and a lot of that credit certainly goes to Doug Liman. There are some really tense sequences in this movie, and when they pop up, the way that Liman handles everything, it just pulls you in. And I thought he did a really good job around some of the action sequences, some of the chase sequences, and some of those suspenseful sequences. He really did do a great job of getting you to the edge of your seat. But the reason this movie really, really thrives, despite some of the script, kind of like bumps that you have along the way, is because of Daisy Ridley and Tom Holland. They are phenomenal in this movie, and it was so nice to watch them do something different. And having this kind of combo of like Tom Holland, who's never seen a girl before, and his thoughts are broadcasting live 24/7. And Daisy Ridley's character, Viola, does not have any noise. She doesn't broadcast anything. You can't hear what she's thinking. It is some really interesting stuff for the two characters to kind of go through. And, Tom Holland is always one of these characters that's dealing with trying to suppress his noise and not, let it get out of control or get away from him, because then you might slip, and if you have a secret, it could slip, or things of that nature. And it's one of these things that as you kind of experience the world that Holland is from, some people can kind of control the noise to certain degrees far more than other people. Some people, are okay with it, and some people really struggle, like Holland's character. And I enjoyed watching all that stuff, because there are some really awkwardly funny moments between the two of them because of things that are being broadcast. But how they kind of play with that inside the movie and just off of each other. I mean, there's a lot of tension between them at the beginning, and how that slowly kind of fades away so that they can work toward this common goal of trying to find some place that Daisy really can kind of broadcast something to her ship. She was on a scouting ship that breaks apart, and she was the only survivor. So she's afraid her ship will go right past this world if she doesn't broadcast something. And I loved, like I said, going on this adventure with these two. And when it comes to Tom Holland's character, Todd Hewitt, there are like three things that I love about his character. His relationship with his dog Manchi, who you see up there, it's wonderful. If you have a dog, you're gonna feel some stuff in this movie because of that relationship. But it's one of those, like, if you were a dog person, like, you will just be attracted to that part of the story. And I loved watching Holland, interact with the dog on screen. The other thing I love in this movie is Tom Holland and his relationship with his knife. Remember how I said when I saw the title, The Knife of Never Letting Go, I was like, oh, Holland has a knife. And how he uses it, what he uses it for, when it pops up. I just loved everything that was going on with the knife. And then thirdly, I love his relationship with Ridley. They play off each other so well, and their chemistry is so good. And Ridley, she's great, man. Like, she plays this very, very strong character, but she is terrified early on. And as the movie goes, like, you see how she is a really strong character, but when you're outnumbered the way that she is, and you got all these people whose thoughts you can hear kind of gunning for you, how she kind of handles all that and works with it. I just thought she did a really, really good job, and they're really the two that sell this movie, man, because you want to go on this ride with them. And anytime they're in peril or in danger or being chased, like I said, because of the way Lyman shoots it and because of how tied you are to these two characters, like, you are on the edge of your seat or in the, oh man, what is happening? And there are some really, really, really tense moments and really impactful moments, man, where, like, what happens, like, hits you in the chest. And like I said, so much of that has to do with the performances and just the way that Lyman delivers those sequences. And the rest of the cast here is really, really excellent. Damian Bashir plays a character named Ben. He's kind of the guy who's raised Holland's Todd, like, throughout, Todd's life. Because Todd's mother dies when he's an infant. Ben kind of becomes his pseudo-dad because his dad also had passed away prior to his mom giving birth. Sorry, spoilers. But that's who, Damian Bashir plays. And I love it. It's a very simple, small character, but the moments he has with Holland are very impactful. And while some of it could have been fleshed out a little bit more, like I said, there are areas in the script where it felt like he could have used a little bit more development. I thought Bashir did a really good job with what he had to convey a lot by showing and not having to have the movie tell or, dive into that relationship a ton. So I thought he did a great job. I'm going to butcher this name because I always do, but David Oyelowo. Also excellent. He plays a preacher named Aaron, and he's one of these people who thinks that, being able to broadcast your noise is truth. Don't hide your truth. Let that be a thing. And how that works with his character, very, very interesting. And took it to some places that, like, I was like, oh, okay, that's where we're going. Okay. And the arc of that character, let's just say it has a very satisfying ending. But I thought he did a great job. Kurt Sutter, I love this, man. Being a fan of Sons of Anarchy, seeing Kurt Sutter pop up was just so cool. He plays sort of like Holland's pseudo-brother, Killian. And again, much like Bashir, very, very small, but being a fan of Sutter, seeing him pop up, I was like, oh, I know him, and what you get from him, it's, like I said, very small, but it was nice to see him pop up. Cynthia Erivo pops up into this movie at one point, and I just love her. Anytime she's on screen, she really knows how to just capture your attention and make you focus on her. And again, while it's very small, everybody's role in this movie is small outside of these two, but she does quite a bit with the little bit that they give her. And lastly, you have a father-son combo in Nick Jonas, who's the son, Davy Prentice, and Mads Mikkelsen, who plays the mayor of this town, Mayor Prentice. And Jonas is okay. Again, very, very small, not utilized very much. I thought there was going to be more between him and Holland. And again, something that I would have liked to have seen developed. But, for what Jonas was in for, he was fine. Just wasn't a ton for him to do. But Mads Mikkelsen, my dude came to play, and my dude is so good at being bad. I love when Mads Mikkelsen is a villain because he just relishes in whatever type of villain you're asking him to be. Whether he's being Hannibal, whether he's, I can't think of his name, but in the Doctor Strange movie, like, whatever it is, he just plays into it perfectly. And the concept around Mayor Prentice was probably, after these two, the best developed thing in the movie. And Madge just has so much fun with it, and the way that he does things in the movie and utilizes specifically the noise to his advantage, it was so much fun to watch. And like I said, I just love any time he pops up in anything, specifically if he's going to be a bad guy. So when you add Mads to the duo of Holland and Ridley, you get something really, really good out of those performances, and they do a lot with what, the script gives it, even if the script is lacking in some areas in depth or kind of, development that, I kind of would have liked to see a little bit more about the planet that we were on and how that ties into the story. But the mysterious parts of this story and the things that are revealed to Holland's character, while we might be able to get ahead of him, how he reacts to him is phenomenal. And that's the stuff that really makes this movie work, as well as the concept. I love the idea of broadcasting your thoughts. I think, like I said, that's everybody's worst nightmare. And they play with that really, really well. Like, how they play with that is they have a lot of fun with it in the movie. And the sci-fi elements of the film are really good. The little bit of time we spend in space, the little bit of time we get with the spackle, it popped, and I kind of wanted more of that stuff. But even with that, I think this movie works way more than it doesn't, and because of Holland and Ridley, man, you can just lock in and enjoy the heck out of this movie. It's a really easy sit back, turn your brain off, and just enjoy what's in front of you. And if you're about that type of movie, then Chaos Walking will probably work for you. But for now, that's all I got to say about Chaos Walking, man. Really dug this one. Even though it has, some flaws, I think that's far outdone from the performances from these two and just the concept of the movie. It was something different, something I'd never seen, and I love anytime I can get something new. So those are all my thoughts on Chaos Walking. Now I want to know what you're thinking. Have you had a chance to check this out? Are theaters open by you? Do you feel comfortable going to theaters? If you went to the theater and saw it, what was your movie theater experience like? It was similar to mine, where you're kind of peeping for no people, or just what was your experience if you went to the theater, and what did you think of the movie? If you haven't seen it, is this something that you will check out on streaming? Are you a sci-fi fan? Are you a fan of Ridley or Holland? Anything you're thinking, good, bad, or indifferent about Chaos Walking, based on either what you've seen or what I've said, goes down below in the comments section. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the old C-Man anytime we're talking movie, TV, trailers, and you haven't yet, you want to show a little love support, jump over there, man. Join the Maniac Nation by hitting that subscribe button. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. If not, hope you come on back and give it another go. And until that time, for the C-Man Cinema, sit down! I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace! Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.